Hey guys, welcome back. This is episode 3. We're here with our good friends Jess and Derek. Uh, Hope you enjoy.
All right. So, can y'all tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure. Um, I'm Jessica. I'm Derek's wife. Um, I right now I help him a little bit with his firewood business. Just wherever he needs me to promote the business, or I even, go out there and work with him and cut up and saw the wood. I actually enjoy it. He's been doing it for years. And here recently, I just started helping him, and I was like, wow, I actually enjoy doing this. So it's fun for me. I like to do it. And I'm just, available to help wherever I'm needed in the church body. So I serve in the kingdom daily, and wherever God wants me for the day is where I'm at.
No, not you, brother.
Just a guy taking it a day at a time.
Amen.
We like she said, I'm the director of our men's program, and we have firewood business, and we just kind of take everything a day at a time, and whatever God leads us to do today, that's what we do.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, you guys say you're you're director of the men's home.
Yeah.
You do things for the church. What church do you go to?
The river
And
in
Alpha.
Alto.
In Alto, the
Yeah.
big city. Yeah.
Yeah.
We go there too. We like
Yeah.
it.
I thought I've seen her before.
Just like a few times. Just in passing.
I know I've seen her quite.
How did you guys meet?
Well, we met through. See, we lived in Louisiana, a little small town by Toledo Bend, and we met through a mutual friend of ours. Of course, we're not friends with him anymore. Our lifestyles changed. So we met through a friend of mine, and actually a girl her dad was dating at the time. So kind of one of those, I wouldn't call it a blind date type thing, but we just kind of ran into each other and
Love at first sight.
pretty much, yeah. I guess so.
That's
Been
awesome.
together ever
We've
since.
been together ever since, yeah.
Awesome.
Mhm.
You guys are from Louisiana. How is it over in Louisiana? Like, what differs from there to here, like the area you're in?
I think the only difference between there and here is it's pretty much the same, but there's more hills here. A lot more, like, you got Lookout Mountain or whatever they call it,
Yeah,
where you
it's
can see for miles. And I've gone to customers' houses and their backyard is, on top of a big hill, and all you can see is, you can see for 40 miles. So that's really the only difference. Everything kind of looks the same.
Ooh.
Pine trees, looks just like East Texas.
Well, how did you guys get introduced to church? Is it something you've always done, or is it more of a recent thing?
I was introduced to it growing up. I always went to church on Sunday. My grandpa was a preacher, and we would go somewhere every Sunday, and that's kind of how I got introduced to it. I went to a school similar to what we have at the River Church in Alto. It was the exact same thing basically, and I went there and ended up saying they had an altar call, and went up there and got saved, so to speak, or whatever. And I felt really amazing for like 2 or 3 days. And then after that, it was kind of back to the same thing, because there was nothing after to help you with what to do after you said the prayer. That was it. You said the prayer. Okay, just keep coming. That's it. And obviously that didn't work.
Yeah. Well, that happens, and I've fallen victim to that too myself. And really, I don't necessarily think it was the church's intention. It was just I still wanted to live for me, and I thought that's what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
And also, I wasn't well read. They talked about it during the sermon. I just never listened.
Yeah, I don't remember any of them either. They just I think the main thing where we went was they just wanted to get you saved, and they told you to try to do the best you could. But the problem with that is, if I could have done the best I could, then what was the point in saying the prayer? So if I could if I could fix myself, what's the point in coming to church all the time?
Yeah. Sister Jess, when did you start going to church?
Well, actually, I was probably about 6 or 7 when I was first introduced to church. My parents had been split up, and they got back together. And when they did, we started getting involved in church, and my dad actually became a preacher. And so um, that's when I was introduced to church. And he was a preacher for about 3 years. And then, things happened, and I sort of, left the church and really wasn't involved in church too much the rest of my life until about 11, 12 years ago, something
Yeah.
like that. So,
Wow.
yeah.
So you guys are at our church now here in Alto.
Yeah.
What do you guys get out of church now? Like, how do you feel about it now?
Oh, it's completely different than when I was before. Now, we get a sense of family. You get accountability. You're surrounded by people that are going in the same direction you're trying to go, and that makes a world of difference. And more of what I get out of church now than I ever had before is the presence of God, and that's what changes us, not us following a bunch of rules and regulations. When you have two or more that come together, the presence of God shows up, and suddenly nothing else matters. Have you ever come to church and you have all these things on your mind, these problems, this, that, and the other? You're mad at this person, mad at that person, and then all of a sudden you notice nothing else matters. That's when God shows up,
Yeah.
because He knocks down all those. Yeah, when the presence of God shows up, the barriers and opinions that we have placed up in our mind or whatever, He just knocks them down. And every time we come together, He transforms you a little bit more.
He
And
does.
you don't even notice it. You look up one day and you look back and you're like, man, I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. I had a conversation before on this. I think it was with maybe Aaron.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it made it to the video, but he had said like we don't even listen to the same music, and that's when I realized it. Like, hey, I haven't even listened to any of the tunes I used to jam on. I've got it on this Christian station on my phone.
Yeah.
That's when I really like, oh, the
Yeah.
change is there. That's awesome.
That's what I love about, living for God and walking with like-minded people like that is I notice the harder you try not to do something, the more you want to do it. And the more it's on your mind. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. And that's all you're thinking about. But when God moves in, faith is you trusting that He's going to transform you. So you know what, God, if you don't want me doing this, give me a different desire. And He just does it.
That's good. I think we all kind of go through those.
Yeah.
Have you gone through any of that?
Yeah. When did the service start drawing y'all in?
When did it start drawing us in? I would say probably pretty much immediately. I came here wanting something different because I've done everything my way and tried everything my way and ended up losing everything. So, when you really hit rock bottom and you're out of ideas or your perception on how you think things should go, then you become open to something else.
Yeah.
And, God opened my eyes and my heart to that. And He started speaking to me because, I came here going in the men's home and things would be going on with me in the men's home internally that nobody else knew. But when we would start going to service, Pastor Ron would start preaching about those things and giving you an answer for the problem, for what God said to do. And I was like, there's no way anybody could have known this. I didn't tell anybody because I'm kind of a private person, not so much as much now as I was then, but I didn't share anything with anybody. So that was the first step of God introducing me to Himself. He's like, I know who you are, and I know what's going on with you, and I've got a way out for you. So that I would say immediately He started drawing me in.
What about you, Sis?
Same for me. I think what was awesome for me is how I was accepted when we first got here, just as I was, a broken, hot mess, and I was loved. And, you know, we weren't made to do anything. We were just, loved right where we were at. And that drew my attention, this is pretty awesome. And then, one thing led to another, and the Lord healed me from my addictions. And it was like, I need more of this Jesus. And so, that's what drew me into the services more.
Yeah, that was another thing for me too, because, as we go through life, we don't let people in on what's going on with us. And I saw this as an opportunity to you know what, if this is going to work, I'm going to let it all hang out and let everybody know what my problems are, what's going on with me. And most of the time when you do that, people look at you sideways and judge you or move on and leave you alone. But when we came here and we just laid everything out on the table, it was the greatest opportunity I've ever had, because you know what, all those dark places where we keep things, that you can just let it out. And we were never judged. We were met with, I know what you're talking about. And that was a game changer too.
Mm-hmm.
Not being judged and people understanding and, loving you for where you're at.
Yeah. And hearing testimonies over and over is what's really helped me, because I walk through the same things. And it's just weird because we all have this perception that we're the only ones going through it. You can't possibly understand what I'm going through.
Yeah.
But man, all the stories they're similar, and just our need and our want and our love for Jesus is the same, which is awesome. And just to see that, you guys, has really helped me
Yeah.
develop and want God. I see what God's doing in everyone's life, and at first I was just envious and jealous, and I had to learn how to stop that. It's not what that is. No, these guys they've put their faith in the Lord, and that's what I wasn't doing.
That was God's way of drawing you in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. All right, you guys kind of answered my next question. I was going to say when you started taking Jesus seriously, but give us a little bit about your testimony, man. What actually led you here?
Well, we hadn't been, we'd been married then, wasn't we?
Mm-hmm.
We got married in 2008.
Yeah.
And we had Dayton and Keegan. And, I was in addiction then. I've been in addiction since I started back in teenage years, probably 13.
You say addiction, just using drugs and stuff?
Yeah. Pills, drugs. Hey, if it got you high, I was on board with it. So
I was the same.
yeah. So living that lifestyle, living to wake, if you can imagine waking up every day, okay, how am I going to get this to feel like this every day? That's what life was like. And living that way, not letting, anybody tell you what to do or tell you how to do something. You were Lord of your life, doing it the way you wanted to. And that ended up me losing her, the boys, a job. And that's what brought us to Alto, because her sister's Pastor Missy.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know it, but our life started coming unraveled, so to speak, if you could call it that. It was already unraveling, but we were coming to the end of it.
Yeah.
Because they were here praying for us, because they mailed us a Bible in the mail. And I remember looking at it and laughing, and I stuck it up in the top of the closet and just kept doing what I was doing. But, they were praying for us, and it was coming to an end. And I actually, it was an opportunity when we came here for me to go into the men's home. And when I went to the men's home, that's where I actually encountered God, because you wouldn't understand unless you've done it, taking pain pills for 10 years plus every day, all the time. Because when you don't have them, the reason a lot of people are stuck in that, they want to get out so bad, but the reason they can't do it is because the withdrawal process.
Yes.
It makes you really sick and it's bad. So I came here, and the first time I encountered God I said, okay, if you're real, if you'll take these withdrawal symptoms from me, I'll serve you the rest of my life. And I got up in that prayer and never had another one. And this was like the first or second day I was here.
Wow.
Not another one, period. It was over. And I'm like, man, there's something to this. And that was another invitation for him to, give myself to him.
Yeah, it's a funny story. You said that they were praying for you guys and sent you a Bible. I was working at the prison, and the inmates there, and would go in their church service, and I had to watch everything. And this was back when I was trying to go into church here and wanting to choose God. And I would mention something to one of them, and they're like, well, we'll pray for you. That's what you want. But your trials are going to come.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Because God will start moving.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Closing doors and all that. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you guys have been pretty transparent with us. That's kind of what we wanted to do here, was to, teach and show everyone else, they're coming into the church or they're not sure about the Lord, to be transparent. And that's kind of why we named it that. Let's get transparent, because you got to open up.
Yeah.
You got to be able to reach out and talk to others. And this is what we're doing. You're not just, Derek, the men's director, or Jess, what do you, I forgot what this is doing.
I do a lot of
Dance
stuff
and
like
flag.
Yeah, she has a lot of things.
teacher.
You guys are in charge of it.
Yeah. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, you guys are in charge of all that, and the youth league, part of the youth league
Yes,
as well.
yes.
That's the big thing.
Sometimes I feel like I am the youth.
Yeah. Yeah, but you guys are a part of it. You're
I
not.
act like a youth most.
Yeah.
We want to be able to show people you're not this hierarchy there that they should be afraid. No, you're people like we are.
No.
That's amazing. You
Yeah.
got lives outside of the church, and you're able to you're not able to. Your life is the church. Or hold on, I'm trying to how to word that.
Oh, that's you said it right.
Yeah,
That
our
our
life.
whole life has been set up and designed to where that comes first.
Yeah,
You know.
but it's not to be. It's nothing to be afraid of. We want people to be able to get into the church and go in there and start interacting with folks. Because I was ashamed and afraid. I just sat in that pew and didn't want to talk to nobody. I thought you guys all hated me.
Yeah.
Even though why I was even going, this is a waste of my time.
Yeah.
And I've talked to so many people, and that's what they tell me. It's like, man, I'm just going in there and no one talks to me. But
Right.
you don't get out and go interact, and you feel that way. You're gonna feel left out.
Yeah. And Jesus, he said it, I come for the sick.
Yeah.
And if you got to have it all together to come to him, what's the point?
Mm-hmm. And I haven't been to any church where the preacher has not come down and shook my hand if he didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
So they can't. People tell me like no one talked to me. Like, I find it hard to believe someone said something to you.
Yeah.
One person at least. How has learning how to be transparent, because you're actually more quiet than you talk. Like you talked a lot now, but
Yeah.
you don't really speak a lot. I mean,
I don't
I
talk
was
a lot
in
because
church with you.
I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
And scientifically, if you're talking, you ain't listening. You can't.
It's me.
Yeah. So if when you see me, if I'm not talking a lot, it's because I'm just paying attention, taking everything in, and constantly trying to learn.
Yeah.
If you stop learning, you're gonna stay where you're at.
Well, what helps you with your transparency?
Knowing what being not transparent does. I got here when I was 30 or 29, spending all those years trying to keep everything to myself, not being transparent, and where it got me.
Mm.
And being part of the men's homes, seeing the guys do that constantly. Okay, you can see it on their face, they're struggling with something, but they won't be transparent about it.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is they stop moving forward, and the longer they hold it in, they end up going back. Because you got that opposing voice. Well, you're the only one going through this. Nobody else knows. Nobody else could possibly know how you feel about this. So, not being transparent is deadly. It really is.
Transparency brings out boldness. How is learning to walk in boldness helped you?
How's it helped you reach those who meet you in your everyday life?
Transparency helps you walk in boldness. So if you want to keep boldness, you got to keep walking in it. And how you reach others, was that the other question?
Mm-hmm.
How you reach others is, you've been to where they're at and you're where they're trying to get. So that kind of helps you because you can relate to what they're going through. That's how you can't help anybody if you don't know where they've been and what they're going through. Then you really don't have an answer for it. So looking back on my life, yeah, it was kind of a it was a nightmare, but I don't regret any decisions I made or anything that happened to me then, because God, I didn't know it then, but God was using all that. He said he works all things for the good of those who love him. I can take those problems and now I can use them to help other people. So
What about you, sis?
I think that one thing it does, like as I teach Bible study, it brings out, and I'm transparent there, and I continue to walk in that. It brings out boldness, because I didn't start out being very bold, and I started out with a lot of fear, and but as I remained in that, and I didn't quit, it helped me become more bold in that. And just like he said, it helps others because, I can share that I started out with fear, and, being transparent and just remaining in that, like staying consistent with it. It helped me, they see that in me, and so they'll say, well, if he can do it in her, then they can do it in me too. So just being an example and sharing, what he's done in me through that.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys, like as we talked about, you're a part of the youth, the things that you serve in. How has that serving changed your walk? I mean, you come in, I know you got out of the men's home and they're out of the women's home.
yeah.
And now it's you've moved into like now I want to serve, and you guys do it faithfully. Like, how does that change your walk?
That's that's changed everything, because if you're not serving somebody else, who are you serving? Yourself. And God, in His grace and mercy, has allowed us to serve ourselves all of our lives. And I know what that gets you. And I'm sick and tired of worrying about Derek and thinking about Derek. And when you're serving, you're modeling what Jesus came to do. If He did it, so should we. So, I mean, it changed everything. It gets my mind off myself, and it helps you learn more and be a part of other people's lives. When you're not serving and you're just worried about yourself, you closed off every door around you, so you won't have any relationship with anybody else. So, yeah, it's a game changer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because you're not focused on yourself. Like for so many years, we wanted to please ourselves and do what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so now just helping others, it just, I mean, it changes your whole perspective and all of that.
Yeah. No matter how good your life is, you can always find a problem with it. But serving helps you, get your mind off those problems.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're serving other people that's got bigger problems than you, and you're like, all of a sudden, hey, my problem don't seem that bad.
Yeah. Well, you guys get to do something amazing, and it is with our youth. How like how was it before you guys got into it? And they said, "Hey, we need you to be our youth pastor." Like, what went through your mind?
I wasn't even expecting it. Like, I was
I
like,
wasn't either. No.
yeah, so, and that's how God is. Like, you'll just be walking with Him and doing your thing, what He's giving you. And then when you're faithful with what He's giving you, all of a sudden He'll add something else. And so I wasn't expecting it, but I was excited because
Yeah.
I was just ready to see what He was going to do in that. He's always doing good stuff.
Yeah.
You guys have any difficulties at first?
Not really. I mean, it's just like anything else. When God calls you to do something, you're kind of already doing it. So you don't have to formulate, okay, now I got to start doing this. So when you tell God yes, you don't know what you're saying yes to. But when He asks you to step into something else, you're already kind of doing that anyway. Because we got 2 teenage boys, so we know how kids are.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that big of a change for us. It was different, and I was thankful for it because we get to see another side of the way God does things with the kids or youth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wasn't expecting it. Anything God's asked me to do, I wasn't expecting any of it. I was like, I already said yes, so
Yeah.
there's no sense in
That's
fighting it.
kind of what I've like, hey, yeah, we need to do this. Yes, Lord, I've already said yes to everything
Yeah.
else. Yes to this.
And the youth that we have are like awesome.
Yeah, we got the best youth in the world.
Oh, they are now.
And I just,
Of course, everybody can be good for an hour or two a week.
yeah.
No, they're good.
I've really enjoyed it from
Yeah,
day one. I really enjoyed it a lot.
we have. I think I have more fun with them than I do anybody else.
Yeah, well, they're impressionable. That's one of the things I'm actually happy to see Jaden being more. Uh, she puts more into it now, and I've noticed it, and everyone else has. And
Yeah,
I always hear great reports, and it makes. I don't always get to go see them, but just to hear it and to know that when I'm not going to be around, that she is going to choose God, and that makes me feel really good.
yeah,
And I'm just happy that she gets there's places like this, and we get people like you who say yes to the Lord and want to not just take on the challenge, but to be look. I'm trying to figure out how to put it. Like the fruit that we develop, they're a part of that.
yeah.
Yes, they are part of it for sure.
It's really refreshing to see youth draw a line in the sand and say, you know what, I'm not crossing this line. I'm staying
To
here.
see them choose God.
When there's so many things that could grab their attention or that they could be doing this, that, and the other, for them to say, you know what, that's a line that I'm not going to cross. That gives me hope. Especially with everything going on in the world, everybody seems to be unsure of who they are and what they're called to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's the pandemic in America right now is identity crisis. And these youth that we're working with, they don't have that problem. They know who they are. And they know God called them, and they said yeah too. So that's refreshing.
It really is.
Yeah. Takes a load off when your kids are doing what God's asking them to do and being led by God. Because I know what I was doing at that age. It wasn't good.
Oh yeah.
We couldn't talk about it on here.
Same.
What can people who are just starting their walk do to stay planted?
Oh,
Choose it.
yeah.
I mean, you've got to be self-disciplined in that area, and you got to keep choosing it. I mean, even today, like, not so much, but every once in a while, we all come to that place where we want to quit and give up. And you still have to choose it. I still have to choose it. And so that, for me, that's my answer, choosing it,
Yeah.
making your mind up, have a made up mind that you're going to stay no matter what.
Read the question one more time. I want to make sure I got it right.
What can people who are just starting their walk do to help themselves stay clean?
If you're just starting, I would say you absolutely 100% have to get planted in a body where God plants you. And you got to know that God plants you there, because that choice is going to be constantly challenged throughout your entire walk, probably. And did God really send me here? So, one, you got to make up your mind, okay, God sent me to this church, and no matter how good or how bad it gets, I'm staying planted. And a made up mind is the most powerful thing on the face of the earth. When you make up your mind to do something, good or bad, you're going to do it. So you got to make up your mind and believe and know in your heart that God is planting you here, because God, he'll choose where he wants you to go, because he knows he's the only one that's been to our future and come back. So he's trying to form us into who he's called us to be. And when he plants you in a church body, he plants you around other people that are going to be opportunities for you to love and forgive and extend mercy and grace. So, I would say definitely make your mind up and get where God has planted you,
Amen.
and let go of your life.
I really like that. That's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I think that's about all I've got. Guys, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for this. Thank you guys for the service that you provide at our church, just for not just for me in general, but I get a lot out of it hearing you talk and getting to see where you serve at. And then Rosalie gets to be in there and she gets to be flagging.
Yes.
The dances are
I do
beautiful.
so much, like, I should have wrote it all down, but yeah, I do.
Yeah. But the dancing too is wonderful. We get to see that when you guys perform. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But no, this has been really fun, and you guys are great examples of what to follow from. It means a lot to me to have you guys there in our lives.
Well, thank you. Same here.
Same.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
I want to do yours. Not to Derek though.
All right. Well, that's it.